A Royal Navy warship has tracked a Russian submarine in the English Channel amid ongoing tensions with Moscow. As part of a NATO mission, HMS Tyne shadowed the Kilo-class submarine Krasnodar as it made its way back to Russia from the eastern Mediterranean. The Portsmouth-based patrol vessel intercepted Krasnodar as it entered the English Channel near the French coast. HMS Tyne reported every movement as the vessel sailed eastwards before handing it over to Allies as the submarine left British waters, the Royal Navy said. Earlier in its journey, Krasnodar was tracked by a Royal Navy Wildcat helicopter from 815 Naval Air Squadron deployed with the UK Carrier Strike Group, CSG, in the Atlantic. The exact time of the incident is not clear. Defense Secretary Luke Pollard said, "Our sailors responded swiftly and decisively to the potential Russian threat, and I commend their dedication, bravery, and professionalism." HMS Tyne's operational officer, Lieutenant Bailey Denier, added, "Activations like the one we've seen on this patrol to track Krasnodar are vital to us. Defending the sovereignty of the UK and our NATO allies is at the heart of what the Royal Navy does." After the Moscow submarine was handed over, the Royal Navy said, HMS Tyne immediately returned to a new task of shadowing the Russian Starogushchi-class corvette Boyki as it headed west from the Baltic Sea through the busy Straits of Dover. Later, Tyne and 815 Naval Air Squadron are said to have monitored the corvette's return journey to the Baltic alongside 3 merchant vessels. Led by the aircraft carrier HMS Prince of Wales, the UK CSG operates alongside allies and partners in the Mediterranean before heading to the Indo-Pacific. Late last month, it was revealed that Royal Navy warships had been tracking and monitoring Russian vessels in British waters. Today, Vladimir Putin commemorates the 80th anniversary of the defeat of Nazi Germany, with Chinese leader Xi Jinping by his side. The Russian dictator attended a massive military parade in Red Square to mark his country's Victory Day. In a show of support after being isolated by Russia's massive invasion of Ukraine, Putin stood shoulder to shoulder with Xi Jinping. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva also attended the parade, part of Moscow's efforts to project its influence on the world stage. World War II was a rare moment in Russian history that divided the communist government, which was revered by all political groups. The Kremlin has used that sentiment to stoke national pride and underscore Russia's position as a world power. Some 27 million people were killed by the Soviet Union in what it called the Great Patriotic War of 1941 to 45. The enormous cost has left deep scars on the nation's psyche.